Hey guys, one thing that you may know about me, I'm Ron White, the owner of Brain Athlete. I'm a two-time USA memory champion. I used to hold the record for the fastest to memorize a deck of cards. We're all about speed reading and brain stuff here. One thing you might not know about me though is I'm a die-hard baseball fan. So 11 years ago, I filmed a video, the life lessons we can take from the game of baseball and apply them to our life. Even if you don't like baseball, I think you can get some value from this video because you will learn lessons from Ernie Banks or from Mitch Williams or from Mike Schmidt. And they're in this video. If you want to look in the description of this video below, you'll see I've put timestamps where each lesson is so you can skip around because it is kind of long. It's 30 minutes long, or listen to it all together. As you're getting these success lessons from baseball, I want you to give a little caveat. I filmed this 11 years ago. Back then, I was a very dramatic speaker, okay? I was overly dramatic. I was overly cheesy. You'll see I'm wearing a suit and it's all buttoned up with the tie, and I just look so cheesy, all right? Now, 11 years, and you're also going to agree that I look different, all right? I'm hoping you think I look younger and better now, but regardless, I think you're going to agree that I look different. It's a bit cheesy, it's a bit overly dramatic, but if you can get past that, I think you can learn some good lessons from baseball that you can apply to your life, even if you don't like baseball. So enjoy the video, look at the timestamps below if you want to skip around, and let me know what you think. Please like and give me a comment. Give me some feedback if you want me to share more videos like this, because I have about 7 or 8 more, but I'm hesitant to share them. Let me know.
Take me out to the field. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever come back. That is the truth. I don't care if I ever come back. I love baseball. I love everything about baseball. I love the bat. I love the ball. I love the strategy. I love the fact that it has 9 players and 9 innings. I love baseball. I don't know what it is about baseball that at the age of 12 had me hypnotized to a small box of voices talking about Texas Rangers baseball games. As I tilted my head to listen to those games, I was drawn into the game, and my mind was creating the stories and the images. As the announcer would say, the ball's hit to shortstop. He picks it up, tosses it to second. 6, 4, 3, double play. We're out of the inning. I love it. What is it about baseball that draws me like nails to a magnet to the baseball stadium? You know what? The more I think about it and the more I try to pinpoint what is it about baseball that I love so much, I don't think I can pinpoint it. I think it's everything. I think it's the time that I have to sit there in the stands and watch the pitcher in his windup, or debate what is the pitcher going to throw on this 2-1 count, or is this the right time for the bunt, or are they going to pitch to this batter, or are they going to pitch around him, and that runner on first base, does he have his foot closed or does he have his foot pointed towards second base? Maybe he's thinking of stealing if his foot is pointed towards second base. Or perhaps is this the appropriate time for the manager to bring in a right-handed pitcher to pitch to a right-handed batter? All that strategy. I love it. I love the enjoyment, the sounds of the crack of the bat, the smell of the grass, the smell of popcorn, the roar of the crowd as 30,000 faces become one face. I don't know what it is about baseball, but I love it. I think I'm a little bit biased here, but I believe that baseball is whenever God thought, why? So a friend asked me once, he said, Ron, why do you think God made people? Why do you think he made human beings? What do you think life's all about? And kind of joking, I said, I'll tell you why God made people. God made people so he could watch baseball. And I was joking when I told my friend that, but I think it tells you the love that I have for the sport of baseball. I know I'm a little bit biased, but I believe that all other sports are just ways to kill time in between baseball seasons. Now, if I love baseball so much, you might imagine that it's impacted my life. It has. And I've studied baseball as a hobby and for pleasure and also for what I can learn from it. And I've learned some pretty important lessons from baseball, lessons that I've taken from the baseball diamond, and I want to share with you to implement in your life. Because if you do, I believe they'll help you in your effort to have a winning year. I call this Success Lessons from Baseball. It may not surprise you, because I think you can sense my love for baseball, that I play on a softball team. I mean, I love to read about baseball. I love to write about baseball. I love to speak about baseball, watch it on TV or listening to it on the radio. And I also love to play on a softball team. I'll be honest with you, if I'm on your softball team, you want me up at the plate. You really do. I am an excellent hitter. I take pride in my hitting. When I'm getting ready on deck circle, the batters in front of me, all they say to themselves is, we just want to get on base. I know if we get on base, Ron's going to knock us in. They have 100% confidence in me and my ability to hit the ball. Now, with that said, if the ball's coming towards me and I'm in the field, my teammates all hold their breath because I really can't catch that well. I'm not very much of an accurate thrower, so I have to make up for it at the plate. In my taking pride in my hitting last season, I went on a 27, not a hitting game streak, but a 27 at-bat streak. I made a base hit in 27 consecutive at-bats. Now, if you're talking Major League Baseball, that's almost impossible. It'd be impossible for me because I can't hit Major League pitching to start with. But it's a pretty amazing statistic, 27 at-bats, and I didn't miss the ball. I put it in play every time and got a base hit. Well, you know what? Something happened. I cranked a home run on that 27th at bat. And as I cranked the home run, I threw the bat down and I made my friends sick. I jogged around first base, and there's a player called Kirk Gibson. And in a World Series for the Dodgers, he did a little pump like this with his fist as he rounded first base. Well, I was not humble at all. I did that fist, that pump, as I rounded first base and imitated Kirk Gibson. I looked in the dugout and I saw my friends rolling their eyes. As I got out of the batter's box, when I initially hit the ball, I did the Sammy Sosa kind of hop like that. Pumped my fist around third base. Whenever I got to the plate and I touched home plate, I did the Sammy Sosa up to the sky. I went back to the dugout. My friends wouldn't even shake my hands because I was acting so silly and gloating so much. But eventually they came over and said hi to me. Or congratulated me. That was the 27th hit. It was a home run out of the park, and I ate it all up. Well, guess what? After that, I started swinging the bat really hard because I wanted to hit another home run. I wanted to do the Sammy Sosa trot and the Kirk Gibson pull with my arm. So I started swinging harder. I struck out the next time. I struck out swinging in softball. That is pretty embarrassing. When you are known for your hitting, or even if you're not, to strike out swinging in softball is embarrassing. Next time I went up to the plate, I got out. Next time I went up to the plate, I got out. The next time I went up to the plate, I got out. The next time was an out, and the next time was an out. I went 0 for 6 after having 27 at-bats with base hits. I was sitting in the dugout after the last out, that 0 for 6 stretch, and I was sitting there and I was thinking, what is going on here? What in the world are you doing wrong? You were tearing up the softball team before with your hitting, and now you can't even pop it out or hit a base hit. What's the difference? What can you do? Then I remembered the story of Ernie Banks. In 1958, Ernie Banks hit 47 home runs. In 1960, he hit 41 home runs. He was a shortstop, and before Derek Jeter and Nomar Garciaparra, there was Ernie Banks. In 1959, he had 45 home runs, 143 RBIs. He batted .304 on that season and only committed 12 errors the entire year. That magical season of 1958 earned him the league's MVP. As I was sitting there in the dugout, a little bit discouraged, I remembered Ernie Banks. Why did I remember Ernie Banks? Because he had what baseball players call a breakthrough year. And this was a lesson that I took to my softball team. In 1954 was the breakthrough year for Ernie Banks. In that year, he clobbered 44 home runs over the fence. 44 home runs in 1954. That's a pretty impressive statistic. What makes it more impressive is the year before, in 1953, he only had hit 19 home runs. That is a 25 home run jump in just 1 year. Without a question, that was Ernie Banks' breakthrough year. Now, what made the difference? A lot of things made the difference, but a very small thing from the mouth of Ernie Banks was the biggest difference of all. In 1954, he was using a 31-ounce bat when he got up to the plate. You say, what's the big deal about that? The year before, in 1953, when he hit 19 home runs, he was using a 34-ounce bat. He said when he was swinging that 34-ounce bat, it was okay, it was fine. It was believed back then that a heavier bat helped push the ball over the field. So he was using a heavy bat, a 34-ounce bat. He had an idea during the offseason that he was going to decrease the weight of his bat by 3 ounces. 3 ounces. He changes to a 31-ounce bat, and he said the difference was incredible. He said he went from feeling like he was swinging a telephone pole to swishing a broomstick. You see, back then in the 50s, it was believed that the heavier the bat, the farther the ball would go whenever you hit it. While that is true, it's also true, and it was discovered through Ernie Banks' experiment and through others, that not only does the weight of the bat help the ball over the fence, the speed of the bat helps the ball over the fence. And with a lighter bat, Ernie Banks was able to swing faster. Let me ask you this. What made the difference for Ernie Banks between 1953 and 1954, between 19 home runs and 44 home runs? I'll tell you what made the difference. 3 ounces made the difference. In 1949, 14% of the major leaguers had a 31-ounce bat. By 1959, 70% did. There's nothing more flattering than imitation, right? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. All these major league players began switching to a lighter bat. Now, here's the analogy, or here's the lesson that you can take from baseball from the life of Ernie Banks and this 31-ounce bat. And that is this. That difference of 3 ounces made a dramatic impact on his baseball game. In your life right now, you may be at a spot where you are not getting the results you want in business. You may not be getting the results you want in baseball. You may not be getting the results you want in your personal life. Now, here's what I want to encourage you not to do. Don't overhaul everything. Don't change everything you're doing. Ask yourself, is there one area of my life right now, of this area that I'm struggling with, that I could tweak just a little bit? Tweak that just a little bit, and you may be surprised at the dramatic change you find. You see, the difference was a small change for Ernie Banks, and it could be a difference of a small change for you. I firmly believe with all my heart that the difference between the man living in the penthouse and living homeless in the street is often not a giant canyon, but is little bitty small decisions and small choices every day. Don't underestimate how much 3 ounces can be in your life. I switched my bat that softball season to a lighter bat after I went 0 for 6. I learned from Ernie Banks a very small difference, and very soon I was clobbering the ball over the fence once again. In your life, you might need to lighten the bat just by 3 ounces. And then in business, you're going to see those home runs go over the fence. The next lesson comes from a group of baseball players, several baseball players. And I entitle this lesson, Nothing to Forgive. This lesson is for Mitch Williams. It's for Ralph Branca. It's for Donnie Moore. It's for every Cub since World War II. It's for the 67 Phillies. It's for the 87 Red Sox. And it's for the 78 Blue Jays. This lesson is for them. My friends, there is nothing to forgive. What do I mean by that? When baseball players will make errors in the field, or they'll do something that's not what we consider to be up to par, or up to our standards, all too often we stand indignant, unrelenting, and we boo these men. When if we were honest with ourselves, we would admit that they are on the field because they are better than us at this particular sport. They have disciplines that we don't have. They have abilities that we don't have. They are better than 99% of the people in their field, yet when they make an error or mistake, we stand up and we chide and harass them as if they have disgraced our team, our city, and our families. Ralph Branca, Donnie Moore, Tom Nidenfauer, every Cub since World War II. I'm going to tell you something. You are not forgiven. You know why you're not forgiven? Because there is nothing to forgive. The wild thing, Mitch Williams trotted in from the bullpen to seal the World Series victory for the Philadelphia Phillies. He faced Joe Carter. He did not strike Joe Carter out. He didn't even get him out. He served up a game-winning home run to Joe Carter, and the Philadelphia Phillies lost the World Series, and the hearts of everyone was broken in Philadelphia. Mitch Williams received death threats. In 1986, the Boston Red Sox first baseman Bill Buckner failed to stop a ball from rolling through his legs, and after that, the Red Sox lost the World Series in the next game. Bill Buckner will forever be the man remembered as the GOAT who squandered the 1986 Boston Red Sox chances of winning the World Series. You know what? After that happened, somebody asked Bill Buckner, Mr. Buckner, did you consider suicide after your error? What kind of person asked that question? What kind of person asks a man if he considered suicide after a ball went through his legs in a baseball game? As far-fetched as that question may sound, and it was a true question that was asked to Bill Buckner, as far-fetched as it sounds, Donnie Moore did commit suicide. Donnie Moore was the California Angels pitcher in the 1986 American League Championship Series. He was one strike away from the Angels going to the World Series. But Dave Henderson had other plans, and he hit a home run over the fence, and instead, the Angels spent the World Series at home and not playing baseball. No one will ever be able to say that that is absolutely definitely what led Donnie Moore to shoot his wife and then shoot himself in suicide. However, those who know him best say that was it. That was the beginning of the end. Pinter, Moore's agent, said that he never got over that. He beat himself up over that pitch. Brian Downing, the former Angel, said, you destroyed a man's life over one pitch. Let me say it once and for all, Donnie Moore, Ralph Branca, and Mitch Williams. You are not forgiven. There is nothing to forgive. You have dared to stand in the arena. You've dared to stand in the midst of great circumstances. You have a discipline that we don't have, and because of that, you are playing professional baseball. When you make errors and those fans criticize you from the sideline, I want you to notice where they are standing. They are standing on the sidelines. The lesson we can take from professional baseball is this, and let me sum it up in a quote from our 26th president, Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt once said this. He said, it is not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled or where the doer of deeds could have done better. But the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. You see, Theodore Roosevelt knew that the man who is in the arena, who is taking action, that's the one who deserves the credit. It's not the critic who counts. It's the man who is in the arena who counts. Herman Melville put it this way. Herman Melville, the author, he said, the man who has never erred, that man cannot be great. The lesson that you take from baseball is this. The lesson that you take from the men in baseball who have fell short of their goal is this. When others criticize you, when others boo you, by the way, Reggie Jackson says this, the fans don't boo nobodies. So if you're getting booed, take that into consideration, and that might inspire you a little bit. But as you are, notice where they're standing on the sidelines. But I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a direct question. Are you a critical person? Do you criticize others? When you see somebody else fail, do you point it out? Can you not wait to point out the failings and the failures of others? What does that say about you? Sometimes when that happens, it only opens an unwelcome light to the darkened closet of our own insecurity. The lesson from baseball is this. It's the man who is in the arena who counts. It's not the critic. Don't be a critical person. And when the fans do boo you, realize this. The fans in the game of life, the fans don't boo nobodies. The next lesson comes from 1973. Danny Ozark was the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. He was getting interviewed by reporters after a baseball game and things weren't going well, and they said, "Mr. Ozark, what do you think of your new rookie third baseman?" Danny Ozark said, "What do I think of my new rookie third baseman? I tell you what I think of him. I would trade him for a wagon load of pumpkins." Now, you might think that that third baseman is probably somewhere painting divider stripes on the highway right now, or he's doing something else. No. That baseball player ended up playing 18 seasons. He ended up hitting 548 home runs. He cranked 1,595 RBIs. He led the Phillies to 5 divisional championships, 1 World Series. That third baseman, his teammates referred to him as Schmidt. You may know him as Mike Schmidt. During that year, Mike Schmidt batted 196. 196 his rookie year. He could not hit major league pitching to save his life. But the other 17 years of Mike Schmidt's career rank among the best. He struck out, in his rookie year, he struck out 136 times in 367 at-bats. In one game, he struck out 4 times. To Tom Seaver. Somebody asked for the game, a reporter asked him, he said, how does it make you feel, Schmitty, to have struck out 4 times in one game? And Schmitty was the optimist. He said, well, the at-bats were comfortable. I just kind of swung through the pitches. I think that's an optimistic attitude, and it's an attitude that Mike Schmidt had. Now, the lesson that we can learn from Mike Schmidt is this. His rookie year did not earn him MVP. But you know, if you know the story of Schmidt, that the 17 years after that ranked with the best in baseball. You see, his rookie season, Danny Ozark, his manager, quipped that he would trade him for a wagon load of pumpkins. But at the end of his career, Mike Schmidt had one of the best in baseball. The lesson is this. Overnight successes rarely occur overnight. What do people do when they first don't succeed? All too often, when someone doesn't succeed, they quit. Mike Schmidt didn't succeed his whole rookie year, but he didn't quit. Him and his manager, Danny Ozark, teamed up together to make their mission, their accomplishment of winning the World Series, a reality. They teamed up, and because of that, Mike Schmidt is one of the greatest baseball players of all time. If something's not coming to you easily, don't worry about it. Press on. Don't give up. Mike Schmidt wouldn't. Thomas Edison would also not quit. Did you know that when Thomas Edison built the light bulb, there was 1,000 light bulbs that he built before he got the light bulb that eventually worked and we still use today? It was a pretty big deal back then, and I think I would suggest to you that it's still a pretty big deal. Because it was such a big deal, a press conference was had, and they knew that there was 1,000 attempts before the light bulb that worked was actually built, and a reporter said, "Mr. Edison, how does it make you feel that you have failed over 1,000 times in your attempt to build the light bulb?" Thomas Edison said, "You misunderstand. I did not fail 1,000 times. I successfully found 1,000 ways that the light bulb would not work." Now, that's a pretty positive attitude, and it's the attitude of Mike Schmidt. Here's the lesson. If at first you don't succeed, keep going. Try on. Press on to your goal. Mike Schmidt did. Thomas Edison did. And that's the lesson that we can extract from this episode in baseball. If there's anything to be learned here, overnight successes rarely occur overnight. Mike Schmidt did not win Rookie of the Year awards, but I think you'll agree he had an excellent career because he didn't quit. And oh, by the way, Mr. Ozark, would you mind passing a piece of pumpkin pie? The next lesson I want to share with you comes from a pitcher. His name was Christy Matthewson. He was a New York Giants pitcher around the turn of the century. Matthewson was an excellent pitcher. He had a 2.13 ERA. He struck out over his career 2,502 batters. That is an amazing statistic. But you know what Christy Matthewson is really remembered for? He's remembered for his good play, yes, absolutely, and he was a dominant pitcher. He's remembered for that. But he's also remembered for his honesty and his integrity and his character. In 1925, before the World Series, his death was announced, and players on both teams wore armbands because they had so much respect for this man. Why did they have so much respect for this man? Because, once again, of his character and his honesty and his decency. I want you to picture this scenario. A baseball's hit to first base. It's hit deep in the hole. The first baseman takes a few steps back. He grabs the ball. As he does, the pitcher runs to cover first base. The first baseman throws the ball to first base. The pitcher covering first base sticks out his glove, tags the base. Just in a split second before he tags the base, the runner runs across first base. The umpire is standing motionless. The crowd waits for the call. Nobody knows what the umpire is going to call. Then the umpire turns to the pitcher and he says, "Was he safe or was he out?" The pitcher replies, "He was out." And then the umpire goes, "All right then, you're out." Imagine that. That's pretty far-fetched, right? Rumor has it, and I suggest that it's probably only a rumor or a legend, but legend has it that on close plays that Christy Matthewson was involved in, umpires would ask his opinion. Was he safe or was he out? Because they knew Christy Matthewson would tell the truth. Now, I think this is a rumor. I think it's a legend. Personally, I find that hard to believe. But you know what? That legend or that rumor has some basis in truth. And you know what the basis in truth is? Christy Matthewson was an honest guy, and because of that, he was respected. He played 635 games, and he was never thrown out of a game because of a bad temper or for arguing a call. He was, in essence, a gentleman. I'm going to suggest this to you. You're not going to get respected by putting vice president on your business card or by putting president or owner on your business card. That's not going to garner you respect. What will garner you respect is going about your business every day with honesty and with decency and with integrity. And if you do those things, just as Christy Matthewson, you're going to earn yourself a lot of respect. That is a lesson that we can learn from baseball. One of the last lessons that I want to talk about in our success lessons from baseball is one of my favorite lessons from baseball, and it comes from a man named Hub Kittle. You may never heard of Hub Kittle, but it's a very good story. Hub Kittle, August the 27th, 1980, he pitched in a AAA Des Moines baseball game. Now, you may say, okay, Ron, but what's the big deal? So, a man named Hub Kittle pitched August 27th, 1980 in a AAA Des Moines baseball game. Big deal. The big deal about that is this. Hub Kittle was born in 1917. In 1980, when he took the mound, he was 63 years old. AAA is a very high level of baseball. It's the level right below the major leagues. A lot of major leaguers will go down there and play, sometimes right before they go up to the major leagues, or if they're hurt, rehabilitating. It's a very high level of baseball. And how this came about is one day the owner of the AAA Des Moines team wanted to do a promotion. He wanted to get people to the stands. So he said, "I'm going to have a promotion, Hub, and if I do, will you pitch, just to get people to the stands?" Hub, thinking the guy was joking, said, "Yeah, sure, I'll pitch one day." Well, Hub didn't take it seriously, but the owner of the team did. One day, a player came up to Hub and said, "Hey, Hub, do you realize you're pitching tomorrow night?" And Hub said, "You're crazy, I'm pitching tomorrow night?" Hub signed a contract for $1, and he took the mound the next night, and the crowd came to see this feat of a 63-year-old man pitching in AAA baseball. Hub Kittle said when he took the mound, he said the batter looked a mile away. He said he looked at himself and he asked himself, "What are you doing up here, you dumb, dumb, dumb donkey?" And as he said that to himself, he efforted to continue on. He said he began his windup, and whenever he threw the first pitch, the batter attempted to bunt. Now, for those of you who don't know baseball, may not know the significance of that, but a batter will only bunt, number one, to catch the team off guard, perhaps, if he has good speed, or if the pitcher is a dominant pitcher, he might bunt just to get a base hit, or maybe bunt to get a runner over. In this case, though, the bunt at the beginning of a baseball game against a 63-year-old man, he was just doing it for show. He was just doing it to show this old man up, and the old man knew it, or he wasn't an old man, was he? He was 63 years old, but in the eyes of that young baseball player, he was. And after he bunted, the crowd roared with laughter. Hub Kittle yelled out from the pitcher's mound, "You are going down on your gazaba, boy." And he wound up and he threw a pitch straight at that boy's chin. The guy went down, the crowd laughed. Hub Kittle retired that batter. He retired the next 3 batters in that inning. The inning was over. At the beginning of the next inning, he came out and retired that batters. At the age of 63, Hub Kittle in a AAA Des Moines baseball game retired 4 batters. The only 4 batters he's faced. That is a remarkable feat. Think about that. 63 years old, he takes the mound and retires all 4 batters he faces. Folks, let me ask you this question. What's your excuse? Seriously, what's your excuse? For the things that you want to do in your life, what are the reasons you're giving people that you're not doing them? Is it that you're too young? Is it that you're too old? That you don't have enough money? That you have too much money? That you're not good looking enough? That you're too good looking? What's your excuse? We all have excuses for not pursuing our dream, but you making those excuses is not something that Hub Kittle would do, and that's the lesson that we can learn from baseball. Whatever it is you want to do, don't make excuses. Take the mound, get the batter in sight, begin your windup, throw the pitch, and become who you are. I hope you've enjoyed these success lessons. It's my favorite sport, and it was my goal here today to take these lessons and pass them on to you so you could have a winning year with success lessons from baseball.